accusing him of, quote, and this is a quote from your ad, serial hypocrisy. Why do you think Speaker Gingrich is a hypocrite?
Well, he's been on different positions, you know, on so many issues. He supported the TARP funds. He received a lot of money from Freddie Mac. So Freddie Mac gets bailed out by the taxpayers. So in a way, Newt, I think you probably got some of our taxpayers' money. You're a spokesman for them, and you receive money for them. So I think this is something that the people ought to know about. But there's been many positions, and you have admitted many of the positions where you have changed. I think there's be a little bit of trouble anybody competing with me on consistency over a long period of time.
I happen to be with you on auditing the Fed and frankly on firing Bernanke. I was never a spokesman for any agency. I never did any lobbying for any agency. I offered strategic advice, and I was doing things in the private sector.
Okay. Should voters consider marital fidelity when making their choices for president? Congressman Paul, what's your view on this?
You know, I think character is obviously very important. I don't think it should be necessary to have to talk about it. I think it should show through in the way we live. If your marriage vows are important, what about our oath of office? That's what really gets to me. That's where you're really on the line as a public figure. And that's where I think a lot of people come up real short. If we took that oath of office seriously in Washington, we'd get rid of 80% of the government. The budget would be balanced. We'd have sound money, and we would have prosperity, and we wouldn't be the policemen of the world. We wouldn't have a Federal Reserve System, and we wouldn't be invading the privacy of every single individual in this country with bills like the Patriot Act. We'd have a free society and a prosperous society.
Speaker Gingrich caused something of a stir overnight in the Middle East with comments he made in an interview with the Jewish channel in which he called the Palestinians an invented people. And I just wondered, Congressman Paul, if I can start with you. Do you agree with that characterization that the Palestinians are an invented people?
No, I don't agree with that, and that's just stirring up trouble. To go out of our way to say that so-and-so is not a real people. Technically and historically, yes, you know, under the Ottoman Empire, the Palestinians didn't have a state, but neither did Israel have a state. But middle class is suffering, but not only because we bail out the rich and dump on the poor, and they lose their jobs and they lose their houses, but there's a characteristic about monetary policy. When a country destroys its currency, it transfers wealth from the middle class to the wealthy. When a country destroys its currency, it transfers wealth from the middle class to the wealthy. And this is what you're seeing today, the elimination of the middle class. And it's going to get a lot worse unless we address the subject overspending, overborrowing, and printing too much money, and understanding the business cycle.
They specifically mentioned habits, unhealthy habits that we all need to learn to do better on at a young age. They talked about obesity, they talked about exercise. If I can ask you, Congressman Paul, anything government should do on these fronts, specifically of healthy behavior at very young ages where it's...
No, essentially not, but they have to be a referee. If people are doing things that hurt other people, yes. But if you embark on instituting a society where government protects you from yourself, you're in big trouble, and that's what they're doing. Once government uses force to mold behavior or mold the economy, they've overstepped the bounds and they violated the whole concept of our revolution and our Constitution.
As a form of closing statement, we just want each of you, you're all running against each other, but in these last few minutes, and if you stick to the minute, we will not run over the commercial. Tell us the one thing you've learned from someone else, one of your challengers on stage. Governor Perry.
I tell you, Congressman Paul got me really intrigued with the whole the Federal Reserve, and I've spent a substantial amount of time reading about and Currency Wars, the book by James Ricard's. But Congressman Paul is the individual on the stage that got me most interested in a subject that I've found to be quite interesting and at the root of a lot of the problems that we have, and I thank you for that.
I always find the principle of leadership to be most interesting. And as I look at the people on the stage, each exhibits different qualities of leadership, and they've each exercised leadership in different ways. One of the things about Ron Paul that always amazes me is when I come to a debate like this, the only signs I see are the Ron Paul people out there in freezing temperatures are always there. He ignites an enthusiasm with a number of people that's very exciting to watch.
I have learned that you should never give up on your opposition, because if you're persistent and you present your case, they will come your way. So, Rick, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
An idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any army or any government.